Good nutrition means good health, and good health is a man's great wealth. We welcome to the inaugural program for the Nation Nutrition Month celebration with the theme Celebrate a Word of Flavors. Now I would request everybody to please rise for Tamil Thai.
நீராறும் கடலுடுத்த நிலமடந்தை கெழிலொழுகும் சீராறும் மதனமென திகழ்வரத கண்டனிதில் எக்கணமும் அதில் சிறந்த திராவிடனல் திருநாடும் தக்க சிறு திரை நுதலும் தரித்தனரும் திலகமுமே அத்திலக வாசனை போல் அனைத்துலகும் இன்பமுற எத்திசையும் புகழ் மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனங்கே தமிழனங்கே உன் சீரிழமை திறம்பியந்து செயல் மறந்து வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே வாழ்த்துதுமே.
Auspicious occasion commences with the lighting of the lamp. May I now request all the dignitaries on the terrace to join for the lighting of the lamp. Ms. Preethi and Ms. Dafni Rajathi welcome is the sweetest of all things in life. A smile that radiates love all the people around makes everyone happy. May I request our dietitian Mrs. Anita to welcome the gathering.
A warm and pleasant good morning to one and all present here. Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is the process. Working together is the success. The progress, the most awaited occasion is finally here. I am much delighted to offer a hearty welcome to all the gathered here for National Nutrition Month celebration. Star shines at night. Some star shines at bright daylight. It's a pleasure to welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Ms. Preethi, Executive Dietitian from MMM Hospital. Welcome, ma'am. And Ms. Dafni Rajathi, Senior Dietitian from MGMM Hospital. Welcome, ma'am. The one who act as a pillar of support and strength with clear vision and passion, entwined with novelty in all activities of this hospital. Let me welcome you, ma'am, to this auspicious occasion, Mrs. Krishna, who is Managing Director of Curi Hospital, and she is a best supporter of all the challenging ventures taken by our hospital. We welcome you, ma'am. Welcome to all the senior consultants adding just to this function with their esteemed presence. I extend my welcome to all the staffs, volunteers, participants who are gathered here to add a radiance to this occasion. Last but not the least, the superhero of today, the future of our country, that is our students. I sincerely welcome all the students to this function. You are strong and smart. Once again, I welcome everyone to this interesting event.
Today it is my pleasure to introduce our guest of honor, Ms. Preethi ma'am. She completed her master degree in nutrition and dietetics. She has 12 years of experience in clinical nutrition. She is qualified registered dietitian. She is currently working as an executive dietitian at Madras Medical Mission and also faculty of Madras Medical Mission College of Health Science. She is a black member in Indian Dietetic Association and IF in India. She has published 2 international journals and 2 national journals. She has completed a certified course in National Nutritional Assessment and Nutritional Support in Care, and then perioperative period, and also excellence in critical care nutrition. She organized conference in clinical nutrition and presented clinical nutrition awareness talks. The session is over to you.
Thank you for your kind introduction. And first of all, I would like to thank the Curi Hospital Managing Director as well as the Department of Clinical Nutrition for giving me this opportunity. And it is a warm welcome and it is a great time to be over here. And moving on to the session. To talk on today's topic, it will be a little bit on the interesting side. It is a nutrition assessment and the nutritional requirement of the kidney disease patients. So to talk on this topic, why it is more important for us, we need to know the assessment about the renal patients is, let's see on the few facts of things about the renal nutrition. So to talk on the few facts, it is like when we talk about renal disease, in worldwide, around 10% of the population is being affected by the chronic kidney disease. So which means 10% of the population worldwide is being affected, in which only 2 million people receive the treatment process like dialysis and transplants to stay alive. When I have gone through the Indian statistics, it says that from 13.7% to it has raised to around 17.2% in India in 2020, where CKD diseases are raising more and more. So it is beginning to give more of importance for the nutrition as well as a renal care team. We have to play a major role to prevent this disease. And 1 in 3 people with diabetes are turning out for CKD, and 1 in 5 people with hypertension are turning out for CKD, chronic kidney disease. And to talk about more on this, the chronic kidney disease, when I was going through what are the causes, 55% of the causes are still remain unidentifiable. Only rest 45% of the causes, like few of the causes, 18% stands for diabetes, and less 25 to 30% stand for hypertension, and few more due to self-medications and improper lifestyle leads to the chronic kidney diseases. But still 55% of the reasons still remain unidentifiable for the chronic kidney disease. So it is more important that we need to address these people. And people with CKD diseases, they even do not know that they have the CKD diseases in the stages of 1 and 2. So to talk about the stages of CKD, as we all know, when the kidney function is declined, it progresses to the chronic kidney diseases. So the functional decline of the kidney is based on the glomerular filtration rate. When the glomerular filtration rate declines slowly, it is classified into 5 stages. And as a nutritionist, it is more important to know the stages. It is because in stage 1 and 2, the symptoms are not evident, but in stage 3 to 5, the most of the kidney disease symptoms are evident, and it is more prominent where like nausea, vomiting, or increased urination, or sometimes decrease in urine frequency, and lot many things, uremic toxins or elevation in urea and creatinine. All these reflect and starts from the stage 3 to 5, where nutrition plays a major role. If nutritionist doesn't intervene over this period, it might lead to protein energy wasting, where malnutrition rates will be higher. So it is more important for a dietitian to know which stage we need to start intervening the nutrition and proceed on. So the protein energy wasting, as I said, in stage 3 to 5, the protein energy wasting will be higher side, where this statistic states that in CKD, early stages of CKD, the percentage starts from 11% and it might be maximum up to 54%.
Whereas in the dialysis, CKD stage 5 on dialysis or any renal replacement therapies, it might raise from 11% to, it might even up to go to 70%, but 54% is between the where in peritoneal dialysis over those stages. And this malnutrition, protein energy wasting is due to the either malnutrition or uremic toxins which build up in our body which causes loss of appetite or lot many reasons, and either inflammation or hypercatabolism. These are the reasons which leads to protein energy wasting and brings in the complication and causes even leads to the life of mortality. So when I have to talk about protein energy wasting and during this period what happens, energy as well as our protein is lost from our body. It may be due to the reasons of as the kidney function gets declined. During the stages there will be a increase in the cytokine production and increase in the uremic toxin buildup in the body, and these might be the causes. And all these causes of protein energy wasting is like loss of kidney function which leads to the uremic toxin built up in our body, and the comorbidities such as diabetes or hypertension may be also one of the prominent reasons where people turn out to be a CKD, where the drugs which are being prescribed for diabetes and hypertension, when they are being taken for a longer period of time, even that will lead to the chronic kidney diseases. And because of chronic kidney disease, the dietary nutrient intake will be low, and as well as the inflammations may be on higher side. And all these leads to the consequences of cardiovascular risks, at the same time infection, or it might lead to fragility of the patient. This may be due to why the dietary intake is low, maybe due to the reduced oral intake or restrictive diets which we prescribe during the CKD stages of 3 to 5, so that the people think that they are on so much of restrictions in the diet, and where the diet is not so palatable, or all these may lead to the reasons of protein energy wasting. So we all know the functions of kidney. Functions of kidney can be classified into 3 types. The one is excretory function, other is endocrine function, and other is metabolic function. When we talk about excretory function, the main function of excretory function is to remove the uremic toxins which build up in our body. At the same time, the kidney's function is to make the fluid homeostasis in our body and maintain the blood pressure control. And when we talk about endocrine function, maintaining blood pressure under control, maintaining the body pH under control, and maintaining preventing from hormonal rearrangements, maintaining the hormonal status under control. And it is more important where in the metabolic function, it helps in vitamin D production, and vitamin D helps in synthesizing the calcium and so on. So what is the nutrition care process? Where does it start from? Nutrition care process is not a single person approach. It is a multi-model approach where it is a teamwork, where in which a team of physician, the nephrologist, the dietitian, psychologist, and patient caretaker, and everybody are involved over that, so that it is more important where it is a teamwork will only make the renal patient, give them a better quality of life, not the single person's approach. And to more specify that any nutrition care process, when we start, it starts with the ADAM process. ADAM is nothing other than assessment, diagnosis, intervention, monitoring, and evaluation. So it is the process which we will carry out to improve the quality of life of the CKD patients. So before moving into assessment in detail, I would like to give a simple differentiation between screening and assessment, because we always need to know the difference between the screening and assessment. Screening is a one thing which is simple, easy, quick tool to diagnose the nutritional status of the patient and identify the nutritional status and send them for nutrition. If they are on nutritional risk, we refer them for nutritional assessment. So to talk on it, it is like more effective and possibility where it helps in determining the patient's nutrition status and identifying nutritional risk and referring them to the nutrition assessment. And any patient who enters the hospital requires a screening, and it is most important one. And screening can be done by anyone like physician or physician assistants or nurses or dietitians.
and it is a quick and reliable, easy tool, and it helps in identifying only the nutrition risk. Whereas in nutrition assessment, it is a detailed, comprehensive one. It requires longer time and it is little bit expensive compared to the screening one because assessment tools are being used and it is being charged even so in certain places, and it requires a trained, skilled person only to do the nutrition assessment. To your knowledge, it is just a few of the screening tools which are used worldwide for CKD patients for your reference, and these are very few tools which are used in CKD patients, and it is validated in and based on this research publications are being updated over the online. And it is mini nutritional assessment tool, mini malnutrition screening tool, malnutrition universal screening tool, and nutrition risk index and geriatric nutrition index. So this mini nutrition assessment mainly focuses on the weight loss and the few of the questions like loss of appetite. And when I talk about screening tool of malnutrition screening tool, even this focuses on the weight loss and the body assessment. How is the nutrition loss of appetite? It focuses on it. And moving on to malnutrition universal screening tool, it uses the BMI, weight loss, and disease condition. And moving on to the nutrition risk screening, it is used in westernized countries where they mainly focus on appetite and the so almost all the screening tools focus also on appetite as well as the weight loss, and few of the screening tool focuses on BMI and the clinical conditions. So it is more relevant where these of the screening tools helps in identifying the nutrition risk. Once the nutrition risk is identified, it is mainly progress to the next stage with the nutrition assessment tool. In nutrition assessment tool, the major two tools which are used for assessing the nutritional status is, one is subjective global assessment and another is malnutrition inflammation score. When I have to talk about subjective global assessment, it is a 7-point scale, and in this 7 objectives are kept as a main thing and it is being progressed on. In this, the first 5 things comes under medical history and the last 2 things comes under the physical examination. So the first 5 medical history it covers is, one is weight loss, second thing is that the percentage in first thing weight loss, and weight loss, how much is the percentage of weight loss, and second question leads about the dietary intake or appetite, and third question is about the gastrointestinal functions and how are the functions about, and whether they have nausea or vomiting or any gastrointestinal symptoms, and fourth thing is about the to talk about the functional capacity, how the patient is able to move on their own, the mobility status and their conditions, and fifth is about the comorbidities like diabetes or hypertension. All these, based on this, there will be a scoring, and this can be modified according to the each hospital setup. This is one tool which is available in online, which I have taken for you. But in our hospital, same tool we have given the scores according to our hospital. We have modified. So in this score, it is like 5th and 6th and 7th point covers about the muscle wasting and the fat loss. And these scores are like, if the patient fall under the score of 1 to 2, they are well nourished. 3, 4 and 5, it is mild to moderately malnourished. And above 6 and 7, it is categorized as well nourished. And moving on to the next thing, nutrition assessment tool. As I said, as I spoke to you about SDA, from subjective global assessment, this malnutrition inflammation score was formulated by Skallander, who formulated it taking from the subjective global assessment, and he added 3 more components to it, where in the third 3 more components which are added extra is, one is BMI, another is total iron binding capacity and serum albumin level biochemical parameters he had added to it, in which the interpretation states if the score is, all these scores you can see in this form, the scores are given over there itself. When they ask the question like if weight loss is there, yes, means it will be scoring 0 or 1. Based upon that score we need to mark on. When the scores interpretation are like 0 to 2, it is called as well nourished. 3 to 5, it falls under mildly malnourished, and 6 to 8, it is moderately malnourished, and 9 and above, it is severely malnourished. This is the one of the tool which we are using in our hospital, even in the dialysis units, to evidently analyze the malnutrition among the people and the percentage, that is to know the exact nutritional status of the patient. So when we carry out a nutrition assessment, what is the most important thing we need to carry out? When we talk about the nutrition assessment, it is most important thing we need to collect the medical history of the patients, which includes the comorbidities, medications, their functional limitations, the renal residual function, and what type of renal replacement therapies they are undergoing. Based on that only, we can make an interpretation and intervene the nutrition. So, and socio-economic status, all these are important. We need to collect the data from the patient. And when we talk about physical examination, we will be analyzing the peripheral edema and or oral problems. If they have oral problems, their intake will be low. So it is more essential to know their oral problems, dental problems, and how is their gastrointestinal functional capacity, whether they have any vomiting or nausea or diarrhea, and changes in any of the hair color or skin or nails. And as a dietitian, we always need to have an interview of process of knowing a dietary assessment where it includes the dietary intake and loss of appetite. So these are baseline of subjective assessment where like an interview method in detail we need to collect from the patients to give a good intervention for the patient. So what are the nutrition assessment tools? When we talk about nutrition assessment, it is always classified into A, B, C, D, E and F format. So, and I have to talk about A, it stands for anthropometric measurements, B stands for biochemical parameters, C stands for clinical examination, D stands for dietary assessment, E stands for economic status, F stands for functional status. So, in anthropometric measurements, there are various tools being used for assessing the CKD worldwide, and the few of the tools which I have mentioned here is body mass index, waist circumference, hip circumference, body composition analyzer, DEXA, and computed tomography. All these are being used based upon the requirement of the patient and based upon the hospital and based upon the setting which we hold. And to talk about biochemical parameters, it is mostly the biochemical parameters, laboratory values which we investigate is in renal patients. The most important laboratory investigations are hemoglobin, urea, creatinine, sodium, potassium and electrolytes, mostly chloride, phosphorus, and then the total ion binding capacity and total protein and transparent. And when we talk about clinical evaluation, as I said, clinical evaluation is the visual observation of the patient, visual observation of the dietitian by visually seeing the patient whether they have edema or ascites or if their hair color change or nails change, we need to identify. And when we talk about dietary assessment, it mostly includes food frequency, 24-hour recall, and the food daily methods. And E, economic status, we always need to know the economic status of the patient. And when talking about F, functional assessment includes hand grip strength. Based on the hand grip strength, if the hand grip is less than the reference value, then the patient is considered to be malnourished. And physical activity, how about the physical activity? They are able to walk on their own or able to perform their daily activities or something like that. And guide speed is nothing other than a value where a short distance is measured, and in that distance within a short period of time they need to walk and within a preferred distance value. So it is called a guide speed, and it is also helpful in CKD patients. And moving on to the next slide. So when we talk about the diagnostic tools, within our hospital we are using BMI for classification of malnutrition, where in which the weight in kgs divided by height in meter square is used as a standard. Height and weight is measured, where if a patient with a CKD, the weights cannot be taken as such because they might sometimes have edema. If the edema is there, the weight cannot be judged properly. That we need to know, and it is the limitation when we do this assessment in CKD patients. And And when I have to talk about the measuring tapes, here we use the measuring tapes in assessing for waist circumference or hip circumference, and these can be interpreted with the WHO classification. And once again, I can even say the limitation of this technique is also there. If the patient is having edema or ascites, this will not give you the proper results. So, and when to know the mid-arm circumference, either we can use a measuring tape, or mid-arm circumference always relates with the fat mass and the muscle mass. So where a fat loss or subcutaneous muscle loss is being identified based on the mid-arm circumference, and in mid-arm circumference, it is a measurement of fat and muscle. So it can be measured using a measuring tape, or it's called a Shakir's tape, the other tape which I have shown over there in picture. So both of the tools can be used in measuring, where from acromion point to olecranon point, the length of the thing is measured and the middle of the circumference of the arm is measured to know the middle arm circumference. And Hartner's caliper is the one such caliper which helps in identifying the loss of the subcutaneous fat loss or muscle loss. The Hartner's caliper is one in the picture in the middle, and it helps in, we all know that the fat loss is in the mainly the four main sites, either suprailiac or in the triceps or biceps. Based on that, using the Hartner's caliper, we can measure the skin fold thickness, and based on that, we can use a formula called middle arm muscle circumference. Using that, we will know the muscle loss of the patient. And these are the reference values of that. And moving on to the functional tool which is used as a to measure the functional strength of the patient is the hand grip dynamometer. In this, the limitation of hand grip dynamometer is if the dynamometer's length is not properly adjusted, the strength of the patient is not clearly known, and it has its own advantage where if it is properly measured, it will help the patient to identify the functional capacity and the functional strength of the patient. And this is the one more limitation of this hand grip strength is that it has a limitation where the reference value is not given for the age group. In total it is given, it varies with the different ages. So another tool which is used for assessing when doing nutrition assessment is body composition analysis. Different hospitals use different body composition analysis. In our hospital we are using this model, but there are multiple body composition analyzers which are available in the market. This body composition analyzer always helps us in knowing the intracellular water, extracellular water, and the percentage of intracellular water versus extracellular water, and muscle mass percentage, and how much is the bones density and everything. Where in this also we can have values vary. The limitation of this tool is that where the values are varied, if the patient is having edema or the water present in the body fluid accumulation might be shown on the different way based on the intra or inter observers variability will be there. And this is a highly sophisticated tool which is used only in very few hospitals. It is called DEXA, and it is used as a golden standard method, but it even has the limitations over it of fluid status, and the period which we are taking is most important. That is also relies with the values over here. And it gives you a complete bone density as well as the fat mass and the muscle mass. Moving on to the next thing. The consideration for nutrition assessment whenever we do for CKD patient is, we all need to know that fluid status has an effect on body composition as well as the biochemical markers, and the inflammation is more common among the CKD patients, so it might even show us different results over when we do the assessment. And the protein urea also has an impact when we do the assessment. And the renal testicular function, if there is a decline in the renal testicular function or the function levels, all these have an impact when we do a nutritional assessment. So serum albumin. Serum albumin is one of the major tools which is used in CKD patients for analyzing the malnutrition. and if the serum albumin value is less than 3, it increases the risk of 10 times to the mortality rate. So it is more important that we always need to take though it is not being considered as a nutrition marker nowadays, but still it has its own importance in the CKD patients. So though the half-life of the serum albumin may be 20 days, but still it holds its importance in the CKD patients. It makes a significant difference in CKD patients. The albumin levels always need to be kept above 3 to maintain the good nutritional status of the patients. And this is one of the tool which is used by the International Society of Renal and Metabolic Renal Society, where they help us in giving a criteria for diagnosing the protein energy wasting among the patients, where in which if the serum albumin is less than 3 and the BMI less than 22 or reduced mid-arm muscle circumference greater than 10%, unintentional protein intake loss or unintentional low protein intake, all these leads to the protein energy wasting. These are few of the tools which are help in identifying the patient's nutritional status and to judge properly and give a right nutrition intervention for the patient. So to come to the conclusion or summary of the assessment tools, when I have to talk about assessment tools, there are various tools which I have given here. They have their own limitations and advantages as well as disadvantages. When I have to talk about body composition analyzer, it is a simple non-invasive tool, but still it is influenced by hydration status. And DEXA, it is non-invasive, reliable golden standard tool, but it is extremely costly. Only the few people can afford it. At the same time, skin fold thickness, it is simple, invasive as well as inexpensive and non-invasive tool. But here the intra and inter-observer variability might be there, and it depends upon the obese patients. The values may not be right even. And hand grip strength, it is simple, inexpensive, non-invasive tool, but it lacks the reference population value. And adjustment grip is also a major problem. SGO or the MIS tool, where it is simple, inexpensive, easy to apply, but it requires highly a skilled person to do these kind of assessment. And dietary assessment, even it's simple, but here also the person who takes the dietary things should be more skilled person. And so to end up with the summary, it is to say that one single tool is not helpful to assess the nutritional status, but combination of tools, where a combination of tools can be used to assess the nutritional status in a right way. Here we say is that use multiple tools which are available in your setting or hospital clinical settings. Based on that, we could come to a conclusion and we can give a proper intervention. Maybe not for all patients, but patients with mild to moderate malnutrition, we can take up this in the next level, and we can use multiple tools and assess the patients. Based on all the tools, we could come to a conclusion and provide a right nutrition service for the patient. So it is a dietary intake and nutritional status evaluation. How should it be proceeded on? So when we talk about the requirements or something like that, it is for a normal person in CKD where the hypercatabolism or protein energy wasting is there. We recommend them with the more calories, in CKD stages the protein requirement will be less, whereas in the renal replacement therapies, either dialysis or peritoneal dialysis, the requirement is high due to the hypercatabolism as well as the protein energy wasting, where we need to give more calories of 30 to 35 kilocalories per kg body weight and protein of around 1 to 1.2 grams per kg body weight. And if the intake is good, it's really fine. If the intake is not good, it is, even though we say that the intake is good, in all renal patients they experience a very poor nutrition. So oral nutrition supplements play a major role for the CKD patients or dialysis patients based upon their nutritional status. So it is why here comes the nutrition, and nutritionist, the role is most important is because she needs to maintain the optimal nutritional status and minimize the waste products in the CKD diseases, preventing the progression of the disease, prevent protein energy wasting, and maintain the right albumin level. And her aim is to slow the rate of progression of the disease and preserve the physical life. It is more important to improve and adhere to the nutritional therapy so that all these bring in a better prognosis in the CKD patients. This is the main aim of any nutritionist in any hospital. They are focusing on the CKD patients or dialysis patients. This will be their objective when they carry out the nutrition process for the patient. So it is one of the system, based on Vito system is one of the system where he gave a classification based upon the age. Like an adult, what should be the aim of in pediatric growth and their development should be the aim of the dietitian, and to prevent the protein energy wasting in CKD patients. And in adult, when we talk about adult, the main aim is to promote the health and prevent slow the progression of the CKD in the stages, as well as in dialysis to prevent the protein energy wasting. And geriatrics, it is mainly to maintain health and prevent them from further complications. And during the end of this life, if they are in the end of the life, it should minimize the aging effects and as well as the complications or consequences they undergo. And it should give a right quality of life. So moving on to the last part of the slide, it's like nutritional requirements. Once we assess the patient, we will know the nutritional status of the patient. What is the exact nutrition status of the patient? Based on the nutritional status, we need to do an intervention, as I said. So when we intervene, it is being based upon the disease conditions like CKD, hemodialysis, renal replacement therapies of hemodialysis or peritoneal dialysis or transplants. The requirements do vary. When I will have to talk about the macronutrient of energy, when we prescribe, it is like 30 to 35 kilocalories is being prescribed. If the patient is CKD patient is above 60 years, 30 calories can be prescribed to prevent the protein energy wasting. And in hemodialysis patient, it is 30 to 35 calories are being prescribed, and in peritoneal dialysis, 25 calories are being prescribed. It is because in peritoneal dialysis, the dialysis solution itself holds some calories, where 1 gram of dextrose will give you 3.4 calories. So if the bag contains around 20 grams of dextrose, based upon that, it will serve around 100 or 120 calories. So it is based on that we need where the calorie prescription is less to prevent the complications. And in transplant, it is always during the initial phases, it is divided into 2 phases. One is initial phase, another is extended phase or after 3 months. Where in the first initial phase, high calorie of 30 to 35 calories is prescribed, and in the maintenance phase, it is 30 calories is being prescribed. And when I have to talk about protein, it is more of protein in the CKD stages, where in CKD stage 3 to 5, we always recommend around 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein. If the protein intake is less than 0.6 grams, it might lead to extreme protein energy wasting or extreme urinary toxin built up in the body. So it is always essential we see that we recommend around 0.6 to 0.8 grams, where this 0.6 gram is recommended in the period of CKD stage 4 or 5. And in hemodialysis, the requirement or the need for the protein is high, where the protein loss happens during each and every cycle of dialysis. When I have to talk about hemodialysis, during the stages of hemodialysis, patients tend to lose around 6 to 8 grams of protein in each cycle, and in peritoneal dialysis, they lose around 60 grams of proteins per week. So it is more essential where protein requirement is high. So in hemodialysis, we recommend around 1 to 1.2, and in peritoneal dialysis, we recommend around 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein. And similar way, the fat percentage is kept around 30% to prevent the cardiovascular risk problems. And sodium and potassium sodium is always limited to 2 milligrams in CKD stages, and one fixed diet cannot be given for the CKD patients or dialysis patients. the diet is being changed. It is being changed based upon their biochemical parameters and lot more things and their intake and everything. So common CKD diet or common diet on dialysis does not exist. It is changed based upon their nutritional value and it is always have a change over it. And to talk about the micronutrients, most of the micronutrient losses are water-soluble vitamins are lost during the period. So those water-soluble vitamins are being recommended and it is being given for the patient. And so it is being given, all these are formulated on the table and we have recommended. The most important thing is that when we talk about the phosphorus limitations should be always less than 800 milligram. So in detail about the diet, it will be discussed by next session by Dafni. So I am not taking in detail through the next session. So I will complete with this and thank you.
Sharing your words of wisdom. I think being a nutritionist, you all must have now learned how important it is to kind of know more about the patient's condition. Especially today you had learned about the protein energy wasting in CKD patients and how the nutrition care process is not a single individual work, it is a team work. And also the nutrition screening, the various assessment tools, and also the majorly the various methods to assess the functional capacity of the patients, which is very important, valid to kind of you to give the nutrition to the patients, and also the nutritional interventions, how it offers the several benefits. Thank you so much for sharing such a knowledgeable session. And students, if you have any doubts, you're most welcome to raise so that ma'am can answer your queries. Anybody has got any doubt? Unless you don't ask questions, you will not get the clarity. I hope all have listened to the session. So come out with the questions so that you can have clarity of thoughts. I think everything was very clear. Now I would like to welcome our consultant nephrologist, Dr. Ajay, who has been very supportive to us to this, so he has joined us. And also, before moving to a short tea break, I would just like to introduce about our chef, Mr. Satish, who has been there from right starting of the hospital, and he is a very senior chef over here. And whatever the nutrition, the nutritionist can give the inputs to the chef to cook. So unless otherwise the chef doesn't cook according to the nutritionist thing. So they play a major role in cooking part, and which is being delivered to the patients. So Satish, I would request you to stand so that people can see you. Satish, you to go there. So he's our chef. He is going to Okay, now before moving on to the next speaker, we'll have a short break, tea break. I would request the participants to display their food so that the judges for the day are the two guest speakers as well as Dr. Ajay and our chef, Mr. Satish. So participants, whoever have got their food, please display it over there. So outside we have made the table ready, so you can go and display your food. Thank you.
take an opportunity to introduce another chief guest for the day, Ms. Dafni Rajathi. She had 8 years of working experience in clinical nutrition. She has completed master's degree in nutrition and dietetics, and now she is working as a senior dietitian in MGM Hospital.
Good morning to one and all present here. I am so happy to be a part of this event. We'll move on to the next session. I am going to deal with the meal planning in maintenance, hemodialysis and peritoneal dialysis. What is meal plan? Can anyone say what is meal plan in a simple language? Okay. Meal plan is a guide for when, what and how much to eat for a person, for any individual or any person to keep the well-being or a healthy lifestyle. Okay. So a good meal plan will consider the goal and taste and lifestyle as well as medicine or any treatment whether the patient is undergoing. Okay, without knowing the preference of the patient or the individual, we cannot do the meal planning. A good meal plan should consist all these points. It should be a disease condition. It should be based on the patient disease condition, and it should meet all the nutrition requirement, and it should provide maximum nutrient in the meal plan which we are giving. And it should also provide a variety to the patient. We should not give only one option to the patient. We should give the variety to the patient. And before planning a menu, we should know the food habits of the patient. And we should also consider the economic status of the patient. And we also should know the seasonal availability of fruits, vegetables and other products to plan a meal. And also we should see the psychological aspects of the patient. So as Preethi ma'am said, it is a process, it is not a one person goal. So we have to consider all this when we meet a patient. So first thing we will do is nutrition assessment, that ma'am has covered everything, and then the nutrition prescription. Nutrition prescription is what we are prescribing, what diet we are prescribing to the patient. Next comes the meal plan, we will see in detail, and the nutrition education is the counseling we are giving to the patient. And then the next one most of us will do, and some people will forget to do, is follow up. We should follow up when we plan a menu. We should follow up with the patient whether they can follow the diet plan which we are giving, or else we have to talk with the patient to modify the diet. So tools required for therapeutic meal plan. These are the tools we need to we should have to make a meal plan. This first one is RDA, recommended dietary allowance. We all know that recommended dietary allowance, right? And then the next one is exchange list. Exchange list also we all know ICMR. Now we are using ICMR 2020 exchange list. And then we are seeing diet for renal patient. So we should know the potassium phosphorus content list. And also, as I said, we should know the diet history of the patient, and we need calculator or mobile phone to calculate and mathematical skills. Basic mathematical skills we need. And next, this is the RDA for the hemodialysis patient and for the peritoneal dialysis patient. Energy we can give 25 to 35 kilocalories. As ma'am said, there will be a nutrient loss and protein energy malnutrition. So we have to give high calorie and high protein for both. High calorie for a hemodialysis patient, and for PD patient we can give 25 kilocalories per kg body weight. It is not only the ideal body weight. We have to assess, and we can give body weight or ideal body weight or adjusted body weight. We should give according to the patient. Okay, and protein is 1 to 1.2 gram per kg body weight. In PD it's 1.2 to 1.5 grams per kg body. Whenever you are prescribing protein, you should prescribe for the body weight. You should not prescribe for the ideal body weight or adjusted body weight. You have to prescribe
protein for body weight. For any individual, you have to prescribe protein for only for body weight. Okay, and then the sodium is 1 to 3 grams per day in hemodialysis, and in PD it's 2 to 4 grams per day. Potassium is 2 to 3 grams per day, and for PD it's 3 to 4 grams. Phosphorus is 800 to 1000 mg per day, same in the PD. And fluid, it's urine output plus 500 ml. For example, if the urine output of the patient is 1000 ml plus 500 is 1.5 liters per day. In both cases, HD and PD, the fluid restriction would be urine output plus 500 ml. So the energy intake in adults with CKD stage 1 to 5, we need to, who are metabolically stable, we recommend prescribing energy of 25 to 35 kilocalories per kg body weight. As I said, it should be based on the age, sex and the physical activity, body composition and other aspects of the patient. Okay. So protein plays a very important role in everyone, especially for the renal patient, dialysis patient. So in adults with CKD stage 5, who are metabolically stable, we recommend 1 gram to 1.2 gram per kg body weight to maintain the nutritional status of the patient. In adults with CKD with diabetes, we can give even more high protein to maintain the glycemic level of the patient. So protein types, there are two types of proteins, right? One is plant-based protein and then the animal-based protein. There is no evidence to give only plant-based protein or which is best. So our aim is to give the protein. So it can be either plant-based or animal-based. We should give the high protein with adequate essential amino acids. So next one is potassium. It is actually we should adjust according to the patient's potassium level, and to maintain the normal range we have to consider the potassium range also. Okay. When we are prescribing any supplement to the patient, to the renal patient, we have to see the potassium content of the supplement before you prescribe any supplement for the renal patient. So next one is the phosphorus. Even phosphorus we have to consider the phosphorus level in the normal range. So we have to check the phosphorus level of the patient. It depends on the patient. It differs for each patient. Some patient the potassium level may go down, it may be hypo or hyper. In post-transplant patient, most of the patients will have the low potassium, low phosphorus level, that is hypophosphatemia. In those cases, we need to prescribe oral supplements or through the diet to correct the potassium level. So we will directly move on to the exchange list. This is the exchange list of ICMR 2020. So cereals and millets, it's 30 grams, raw wheat is 30 grams, is 100 kilocalories and 3 grams of protein, carbohydrate is 20 grams and 0.8 grams of fat. It is 30 grams is 1 serving of cereals and millets. And the pulses is same as 30 grams, 100 kilocalories, protein is 6 grams, carbohydrate is 15 grams and fat is 0.7 grams. And egg 50 grams is 1 serving and it is 85 kilocalories and 7 grams of protein and 7 grams of fat. Meat, chicken and fish is 50 grams is 1 serving and it is 100 kilocalories and 9 grams of protein and 7 grams of fat. Milk and milk products is 100 ml is 1 serving and 70 kilocalories and 3 grams of protein and 5 grams of carbs and 3 grams of fat. Roots and tubers is 100 grams is 1 serving, 80 kilocalories and 1.3 grams protein, 18 grams of carbohydrates. Green leafy vegetable is 100 grams is 46 kilocalories, 3.6 grams protein and 0.4 grams fat. Other vegetables and fruits is 100 grams is 40 kilocalories, it's one serving, and there is no protein and fat in fruit, so carbohydrate is 10 grams. And the sugar is 5 grams, that is one serving is 20 kilocalories and carbohydrate is 5 grams. Fats and oil 5 ml is one serving, that is 45 kilocalories and the fat is 5 grams. So I have made it in a home measurement. One exchange of sambar, one exchange of sambar is 1.5 katori. That is 1 katori is 150 ml. Okay, this is the standard value. So 1.5 katori of sambar is one exchange, one serving. If it is a thick dal, it is half katori because sambar is in liquid consistency, so it is 1.5 katori. If it's a thick dal, is half katori is one serving, and if it's thin dal, it's 1 katori is one serving. Legumes is 3/4 katori is one serving. Okay, the cereal exchange, if the idli is big, it's one idli is one exchange, and if it's small, medium, 1.5 idli is one exchange. Dosa, 1/2 big dosa is one exchange, and small dosa one exchange. And then the fulka is very less in weight, so 2 fulka is one exchange. Whether chapati is one exchange. Rice 3/4 katori is one exchange. Upma, poha, rice with variety, pongal, all this will come to half katori. Half katori is one exchange. Okay, fruit exchange, if it's small apple, it's one exchange. Banana half is one exchange. Pineapple, papaya, one slice is one exchange. Fruit salad, cut fruits, 3/4 katori is one exchange. Without knowing the exchanges, we cannot do the menu planning. We should know all this conversion and everything to put up into a meal plan. Okay. So this is the 1 katori, as I said, 1 katori which we use at home is 150 ml, and the tablespoon is the bigger spoon which is 15 ml, and the small spoon, teaspoon is 5 ml, which we use to eat is a teaspoon, it is 5 ml. Okay, half of it 2.5 ml and 1.25, quarter is 1.25 ml. So I have a case study. The patient is 22 years old. He is a sedentary lifestyle. He is a student. His diet type is non-vegetarian. He was diagnosed with CKD and hypertension. His past medical history: he was obese. He was 100 kgs. He followed no carbs and lost 25 kgs in 10 months. He was admitted in hospital with severe abdominal pain and uremic and oliguria. Okay. The patient is hemodynamically stable, and he was put up on a hemodialysis for weekly thrice, and he has a continuous nausea, and there were no major weight changes after he got admitted, and his post-dialysis weight would be 72, his pre-dialysis weight is 74. The anthropometric of the patient, his height is 182 centimeter and weight is 74 kg. This is a pre-dialysis weight, and the BMI is 22.3 kg body weight, which is normal, and he had weight loss, intentional weight loss, so 26%, and the body composition analysis, protein percentage is 10%, the normal range is 10.5 to 12.9, so the protein is less than the normal, and fat is 22.7, which is high. It should be in between 8.4 to 16.7, and the soft lean mass is 49, which is in the borderline, and fat free mass is 52, which is also in the borderline. Skeletal muscle mass is 28, it should be in between 30 to 36.5, and mid-arm circumference is 23.2, the normal range is 25.3. The BMR is 1505 kilocalories. A biochemical assessment, he was Hemoglobin level was 8.6. The normal range is 13 to 17. Urea and creatinine, both the levels were elevated. Sodium is normal. Potassium is hyperkalemic. And phosphorus is on the range 4.9. It is just above the normal range. And the other albumin and all were normal. So, subjective global assessment, he had intentional weight loss of 26%. Food intake was normal. He didn't have, he had nausea, but he was having normal food. And the GA discomfort, the loss of appetite was there. And the physical activity was normal. And the metabolic demand is moderate. And the fat store is moderate, and the muscle wasting is mild muscle wasting. So the SGS subjective global assessment score is 18, which is moderately malnourished with high risk. Okay. So the nutritional requirement for this patient would be energy. I have given 35 kilocalories per kg body weight. Since his BMI is normal, I have prescribed 35 kilocalories, which will come around 2520 kilocalories. And protein is, I have prescribed 60% of protein, which is 380 grams. And fat is 25%, which is 72 grams. Protein is 86 grams at 1.2 grams per kg body weight, which is 14 gram, and 50% of high biological value protein. And the sodium is 2 grams per day, and potassium is 2000 mg per day, and phosphorus is 800 to 1000 mg. So energy is 2520 kilocalories. So I have distributed the calorie like this. Carbohydrate serving. One serving of carbohydrate is 15 gram. One serving is 15 grams of carbohydrate. So 380 grams we should give. So 380 divided by 15 is equal to 25. So 1 serving is 15 grams. So 380 divided by 15 is 25. 25 we should give 25 servings to meet the 2500 kilocalories. Okay. So cereals I have given 13 servings. Carbohydrate serving is 18. And pulses 2 serving, which is 2 serving. And starchy vegetable I am not going to give. Milk and milk products 3 servings, that is 1 serving of carbohydrate. Fruits 2 serving, which is 1 serving of carbohydrate again. And simple sugars 25 grams, which is carbohydrate serving is 2. And I have, as ma'am said, without supplement we cannot expect the patient to meet the nutrition requirement, because we are giving high calorie and high protein. With the meal plan we cannot achieve the protein. We can achieve the calories also, but it is very tough to achieve the protein requirement. So it is very important to supplement the protein supplement to the patient. When it comes to the renal patient, we have to supplement renal based supplement, so that we can ensure that the potassium phosphorus level will be on control. So I have prescribed renal supplement 1 serving, which is 45 grams, that is 1 serving of carbohydrate. So here carbohydrate cereals 12 serving, pulses 2 serving, egg white 4 numbers, fish 50 grams, milk and milk products 300 ml, and other vegetables 300 grams, fruits 200 grams, oil 40 ml, sugar 25 grams. Totally I have prescribed 2520 kilocalories for this patient. I mean, I have got 2500. I have achieved 2500 kilocalories. Protein, I have prescribed 86 grams of protein. I have achieved 88 grams of protein. So, and carbohydrate it's 380. I have prescribed 380 and I have achieved 350 grams of carbs, and fat is 72. I have achieved 75. And potassium is 2000
2000 mg, and I have achieved 1737 mg. Phosphorus is 975, so it can be in between 800 to 1000 grams per day, 1000 mg per day. So I have achieved 975. So when we prescribe the meal plan, we should do all the other 2 steps without knowing the exchange list and the conversion. We cannot do the meal plan. We can give the meal plan, but it will not be so effective. The quantity is very important to meet the requirement of the patient. So that is why we are using the meal plan. Okay. So I have made it as a meal plan here. Early morning, tea, breakfast with 3 portions of cereal and veg curry, egg white omelette, 1 portion. So mid-morning I have given boba 1 portion, 1 serving, and lunch rice, dal, fish fry, buttermilk, all this I have given, and evening tea and coffee with poha upma, 3/4 katori, and for dinner I have given puri and 2 egg curries and veg kurma and kesari, and bedtime I have prescribed ONS, that is the renal supplement, 1 serving. So if you calculate the calorie, protein, carbohydrate, fat, potassium and phosphorus, it will come to the total what we prescribe. So with the help of exchange list, we can achieve the calorie and protein and the other nutrients without any demand. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your experience and knowledge. In the previous session, we learned about the importance of nutrition in CKD patient and the various methods used to access the patient. Not only that, as the next step, how to plan a patient meal is also equally important. Today we learn the portion size of foods and nutrition, how to measure food in category, their equivalent food exchange. To have more understanding, speaker should share as a case study which gave us a vivid idea about the meal plan of a kidney patient. Thank you, ma'am.
We are at the end of the session. After that, we'll be winding up. So you have a chance to ask whatever queries or questions. See, learning is something different. Theory part is always there. That is the knowledge which we get. But practical thing is more important. Whatever we learn, we don't implement, we don't learn. So it is like that is also equally important. So people are there, chief people, the seniors are there who have faced the practicality. So you can just check with them like how the patients will be, facing these kind of issues, and how the nutritionists play a major role in assessing them, and how to plan their meal and all.
So you see lot of salts in the market, right? Everybody will be aware of lot of salts in the market. So can you please suggest any salt which is preferable for CKD or dialysis patients? You come around lot of salts, you come across lot of salts. Because when you visit a market, you see supermarkets, lot of salts available over at the markets, right? Have you all visited and have you all ever gone through the nutritional composition of those salts? And what are the ingredients in the salts? So the best salt is just the iodized salt, not any other salt which is available in the market, like saying super salt light or salt light, or there are multiple salts available in the market, but none of them will help the CKD patients except the iodized salt
even the measurement of the salt should be only 1 teaspoon, hardly which is less, which will give you 1 teaspoon will give you around 2 grams of sodium. So it is always which can be planned within the diet recommendations. So don't, people will be coming and asking us, when you practice only you will come to know all these questions. There will be a questions raising on asking what kind of salt can I use for the patient? Can I use pink salt? Can I use Himalayan salts? Can I use black salt? None of the salts will help the patient except the iodized salt, which will be much enough, and the quantity wise it can be 3/4 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon will cover around 6 grams, but 3/4 teaspoon is the best amount and the best prescribed level for the CKD patients or patients with dialysis. Obviously, I think Dafni and Ma'am will agree with it.
Main thing is that all the other sorts of potassium salts.
Yes, sir.
It is should be avoided.
Or other salts are replaced with either potassium or sulfurs even are added to the salts.
Watch this I don't have potassium. We always tell them to avoid those salts.
Yes, sir. So sir is even here to help you out. So you can ask questions. If anything is there, sir is even help us.
In the nephrology OP, the main first and foremost thing we talk to patients is diet. Diet இல்லாம ஒரு nephrologist கிடையாது. So எப்பயுமே வந்து as soon as a patient enters us, fluid இவ்வளோ தான் எடுக்கணும், முதல்ல தான் இருக்கும். Fluid, salt, potassium. So diet எவ்வளோ இம்பார்ட்டன்ட்ங்கிறது nephrologist எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும். நீங்கள் wherever anywhere nephrologist are there, diet is a part of nephrology prescription. எல்லாம் நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு டயபெட்டாலஜிஸ்ட்டும் சரி nephrologist prescription முதல்ல diet chart தான் இருக்கும். You can see any nephrologist prescription, the first thing we'll write is fluid, 750 ml, 1000 ml or 1500 ml. Other point, fluid na எல்லா பேஷண்ட் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, they take தண்ணி 1 லிட்டர் குடிச்சிடலாம், மிச்சப்படி ரசம் சாம்பார் மில்க் எல்லாம் தனி. 1500 ml fluid is which it comprises whole thing. சரிங்களா? அது ஒன்று. ரெண்டாவது salt 3 grams அப்படிங்கிறது which as she said, pink salt, Himalayan salt, rock salt, food salt, எல்லாமே potassium based salts. So usually what is in CKD patient what happens is potassium will be very high. So we have to reduce the potassium level. So all these alternate salts are potassium based salts. So you have to avoid those kind of salts and you have to go for white salt, normal salts. And next is low potassium diet. So low potassium diet மெயினாக வந்து எல்லா கிளாஸ்ல இருப்பாங்க நினைக்கிறேன் இல்லைங்களா? So most of the fruits you have to avoid. So fruit in the sense like you can only they are recommending only 3 fruits. One is guava, papaya and apple. The 3 fruits are சொல்றோம் நாங்கள் யூஷுவலாகவே. And basic இவ்வளோ தான் nephrology பார்த்தீங்கன்னா nephrology and diet comes together always. So dietitian ஓட தான் we always work together to avoid symptoms. ஓகேங்களா?
Before announcing the prize winners, we would like to facilitate the guest speakers. Now let me invite Mrs. Rajathi and Dr. Curi Hospital Managing Director to present a moment to them as a token of gratitude. I also request Ms. Preethi ma'am, our guest lecturer today, please. Let me invite Dr. Ajay sir for giving a moment to them. I would also request Ms. Dafni ma'am.
Queen Mary's College, and Dhanapriya also. Dhanapriya too. I request our guest speaker, Ms. Preethi, to deliver. Let me come next. Queen Mary's College. I request Dafni ma'am to come on stage please to give away the next prize. And next prize was for the cooking competition. Actually one participant was there today. I would appreciate her effort and we would move on to the Slohan prize distribution. I would request Ms. Gayatri and Nutritional to come on stage and give away the prize. Second prize goes to Harini P. and Suji Jessica from Mohammed Sakat College. Thank you, ma'am. I request Dr. Ajay to come onto the stage to give away the next prize distribution. First prize goes to Hu Mohi. Hu Mohi and Nityashri from Satyabama Institute. I request the prize winners to talk about their slogan, please.
To look better, eat better. Throw excess sweet into waste bin, not into your waste bin.
Second prize winners, please come forward to talk about the slogan.
ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வந்து பனானா லீஃபே நம்மளுக்கு வந்து ஒரு மருந்து தான். அதை வந்து ஜெர்ம்ஸ்லாம் அழிக்கிறது பனானா லீஃப்ஸு. இது வந்து சவுத் இந்தியன் மீல்ஸ் மேரேஜ் மீல்ஸ் பேஸ் பண்ணி இருக்கிறது. ஒரு மீல்ஸில் 6 ஃப்ளேவர்ஸும் கொண்டு வரது தான் இந்த கான்செப்ட். ஸ்ட்ரைட் ஃப்ரம் சவுத் டு நார்த் ஃப்ரம் கீ ஸ்வீட்ஸ் மேரேஜில் ஸ்வீட்ஸ் இருக்கும். அதில் கீ கண்டிப்பாக சேர்ப்பாங்கல்ல, அது ஆன்டி ஆக்சிடென்ட் இருக்கிறதால அது ஸோ நியூட்ரிஷன். And then along with their big accent avial, salty பொரியல். அவியல்ஸ்லையும் நிறைய ஃப்ளேவர்ஸ் இருக்கு. அண்ட் தென் ஸ்பைசஸும் நம்மளுக்கு நியூட்ரிஷன் ஹெல்த்தாக இருக்கு. ரசம் வந்து டயட்டிஷியன்ஸ்க்கு டைஜஸ்ட் ஆகிறதுக்கு வந்து ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கு. லைஃப் இஸ் பெட்டர் ஈவன் வித் லிட்டில் பெட்டர். லைஃப்பும் நாங்கள் சேர்த்து சொல்லியிருக்கோம். அண்ட் தென் லைஃப்பில் கொஞ்சம் கசப்பு இருந்தால் நம்ம உடம்புல கசப்பு சேர்த்தா கொஞ்சம் நோயெல்லாம் போகும்ல. அந்த ஹெல்த்தி வித் ஆல் 6 ஃப்ளேவர் மேக்ஸ் லைஃப் ஹெல்த்தி.
Cultivate the habit of being grateful for every blessing that comes to you and to give thanks continuously. And because all things have contributed to your advancement, you should include all things in your gratitude. Let me invite Dietitian Vidya to deliver vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. Honorable Chief Guest Ms. Preethi ma'am and Dafni ma'am, respected Managing Director Ms. Gayatri and Dr. and Dr. Ajay, Consultant Nephrologist, and all the participants. It is such an honor for me to get an opportunity to thank you all dignitaries. On behalf of Dietetics Department, Curi Hospital, I extend a warm welcome to all the people in the gathering. I would like to express my gratitude to all the esteemed delegates of the workshop for their presence and contribution to make this workshop a great success. I extend my gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Ms. Preethi ma'am and Ms. Dafni ma'am to take out the time from their busy schedule and grace and event. Thank you for inspiring and encouraging us. us with your words on this special day. A special thanks to Curi management for providing immense support to make this workshop successful. I extend my great gratitude to Chef Satish and the team for providing refreshment. I must thank the organizing team, sponsors, volunteers to working hard for the past few days to make this workshop successful. I congratulate all the participants for their active participants. Thank you everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for your words. Let us all stand up for national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे